Ugh, even the guest room is gone now. I barely recognize Eric's house anymore since you moved in and married him. Feels so tiny and cramped all of a sudden. I used to sleep over at my son's house all the time until you showed up. Talk about raining on my parade. I'm sorry. I guess this was always going to happen when he got married. I promise I'll work hard to make your son happy. I'll do everything I can to be the best wife in the world. I love him, and I want to show you that. I don't expect you to accept me straight away, but I hope one day I can earn your approval. I doubt that'll ever happen. I can't shake the feeling my precious son has been stolen from me. My son's like a memento of my husband to me. I'll make you proud, I mean it. Just like I'm proud to have you as my mother-in-law. Go on then, I'm listening. Tell me about your redeeming qualities, your talents. What can you actually do? Can you cook? Can you clean? Can you knit? Looking at you, you don't strike me as the kind of girl who knows how to operate a vacuum cleaner or a washing machine. Looking at me, do I look that incapable? I get angry just looking at your face. You look like the kind of cheap floozy who got railed by the entire football team back in school. Not only that, but you look so young you could actually be mistaken for a high school student. It's unseemly, and I don't think you're one bit suitable for my son. Wow, what the... You really think I look like that? I've never been told anything like that before. Okay, I understand. I'll change the way I do my makeup from now on. Change it? You'd be better off stopping using it altogether. No one will look at you twice then. Or is that why you wear it? Aha! I bet it is. You doll yourself up so you can hunt for other guys, don't you? Despicable. Is my Eric not enough for you? No way. Besides, I've never hunted for a man. I wouldn't even know where to begin. I have almost no experience with guys. Don't lie to me. There's no way that's true. I can sniff girls like you out from a mile away. I have an eye for this kind of thing. Do I really look like the kind of girl who goes hunting for guys? What the devil possessed my son to marry a little girl like you? You're probably not even out of diapers yet. You're a child. He's over 10 years your senior. I wish you would have picked an older woman, someone with more life experience. I'm sorry, Karen. Go and find a boy your own age and get your claws out of my Eric. I'm sure you could have any teenage boy you wanted. It's not like I married Eric for his age. It's just that the man I fell in love with happens to be older than me. Is that a crime? I know your game. You're after our money, aren't you? The older your husband, the sooner you'll get your grubby paws on his inheritance. That's what you're thinking, isn't it, you scheming witch? Karen, no, I swear. Your money means nothing to me. I love your son because he's kind, sweet, caring, and funny. We have the same hobbies, we can talk for hours, we just gel. Life is good when we're together, that's it. Why does there have to be some ulterior motive? That's only because my son is 1 in a million. It's a travesty that he stayed single for so long. Can you imagine the feelings of crushing disappointment and dismay when I found out what the bride I've waited years for is actually like? I'll try my hardest to win your approval, I mean that. You mean it, do you? Let's see if you really do. If you want my approval, you're gonna have to prove it. You're going to start by coming over and cleaning my house several times a week. It's time to see what you're made of. Roger that. You should know before we begin that I won't go easy on you. No mercy. Okay, I'm ready. I'm gonna show you what I'm made of. We'll see how long that attitude lasts. Daisy, what on earth is this disgusting food? Why would you make this? It's an abomination! Is this the kind of vomit-inducing prison slop you cook for my son? My God, he must dread coming home from work. Huh? Excuse me? The food in the kitchen. Whose kitchen? Wait, what? Do you mean you're in our kitchen? When did you come over? I thought I'd stop by for a surprise cooking and cleaning check to see whether you're fulfilling your womanly duties to a satisfactory standard. Huh? What's this? This is like something a child would make with a pretend cooking set. Do you mean the stew in the pot? That's Eric's favorite dish. He prepared it himself yesterday. I don't think he'd be happy if you ate it. You make my son cook his own meals, you demon wife! How dare you! You lied to me! You said you'd do the housework, and this is how you behave? You've got some nerve. No, you've got this all wrong. That's the only dish my husband makes. I'd be more than happy to make it for him, but he's really fussy about the way it's made. He says he uses a special method. There's nothing special about this slop. I wouldn't feed this to a pig. My poor son isn't cut out to make his own meals. I bet the only reason he's been driven to this is because your food tastes like such ass he has no choice. This is just proof of how unsuitable you are to be his wife. He clearly doesn't trust you to fulfill your duties as a woman. A man doing the cooking? The horror! Anyway, what the hell is going on with you lately? You were spotted by some of my relatives walking around town with a face like a zombie. They said you looked awful and asked what was wrong with you. Do you have any idea how much you've embarrassed me? At least make the effort to put some makeup on. Huh? I did used to wear makeup, but you told me to stop, so I did. I had no idea you'd end up looking like a ghost. I might have told you to stop wearing makeup, but I never told you to walk around in public looking like you'd risen from the dead. You might not care about looking like something from a horror movie, but I'm the one who has to endure the shame and embarrassment when you get spotted. This ends now. I'm sorry, I've been kind of sleep-deprived lately. I got diagnosed with anemia, and I've lost some of the color in my face. How can you be sleep-deprived when you're a stay-at-home housewife? Because I have so much to do. Like what? Like disinfecting all of the plates and cutlery with bleach in the middle of the night. Then there's polishing everyone's shoes, waxing the hallway floor, taking out the trash, sewing up the holes in your clothes, vacuuming, doing the laundry, getting rid of the weeds in the garden. Basically all of the stuff you told me to do. Are you trying to say that it's my fault you're sleep-deprived? How dare you? I wouldn't have enough time to do everything you ask me to, even if there were two of me. You make me clean your house from top to bottom every single day. Besides about a million other things, I don't have time to sleep. I'm doing this for your growth and development as a person, and this is how you repay me? If not for me, the standard of your housework would still be that of a 5-year-old. Besides, it's only right that you should clean your in-laws' house as a sign of respect and gratitude for us for allowing you to be a part of this family. You said you wanted my approval, right? Yes. Then quit your complaining. The only reason you don't get done on time is because you're slow and inefficient. If you weren't so incompetent, you'd be going to sleep on time and you wouldn't look like an extra in a zombie movie. This is the bare minimum that's expected of any bride who enters our family. I told you I wouldn't go easy on you. I'm sorry. I'll try my best to get well as soon as I can, so the color comes back to my face. Just use makeup. You don't need to be healthy if you wear foundation. You can carry on doing your chores and no one will know how run down you are. What? At least if you're sick, there's a much lower chance of you falling pregnant. What's that supposed to mean? If this isn't clear enough already, I still haven't accepted you as my son's wife. The thought of you, a useless little girl like you, giving birth to my grandchildren makes me physically ill. I'd rather he join a monastery and take a vow of celibacy than bring your spawn into the world. God, I hope you're infertile. That hurts, Karen. Why would you say that to me? Oh my God. What am I supposed to do? Lie? It's the truth. I can't help the way I feel. How could I possibly love any child of yours? Impossible. Nothing you ever bring into the world could ever be lovable. So does that mean if I do have kids, you'll treat them exactly the same way as you do me? Of course, they'll be just as unlovable as their mother. The stray cats who hang around behind my house are cuter than any creature you could produce. Are you seriously talking this way about your own grandchildren? My kids won't necessarily be anything like me. A lot of children are the total opposite of their parents. What are you talking about? Stop talking nonsense! Anything you gave birth to would be doomed to a life of failure, rejection, and disappointment just by virtue of having you as its mother. That's why you should give up on the idea of kids. Why torment yourself with the delusion that you could ever be happy? Forget it. Imagine it. Even their own grandma would hate them. Tragic. I see. Look, Karen, I really wanted me and you to get along. But it looks like that won't be possible. Duh! Do you finally get it? Maybe there is a brain cell in there after all. Why should I have to get along with a failure of a wife like you? We're family. I just thought things would be a lot easier for everyone if we could get along, or at least maintain a friendly atmosphere. Forget it. Everyone knows that daughter-in-laws are nothing more than personal housemaids to their husband's parents. To think you'd have the nerve to call that family... Who the hell do you think you are? Wait, does that mean you don't even acknowledge me as family? Obviously. If you're not too dumb to understand that, get back to work. If even that's too much for you, get the hell out of my son's life so he can marry a woman who isn't such a pathetic good-for-nothing. I'd much prefer if you did the latter, by the way. Hi, Karen. I filed for divorce today. Woohoo! Time to celebrate! I gotta go get some champagne! My son's finally free. Thank God you're finally divorcing him. You've already wasted 2 years of his life by clinging to him like the financial and emotional leech you are. We can't wait a second longer. I'm so pleased. This is all I've been wanting to hear since the day I met you. Sorry it took me so long, but I finally made up my mind. Thanks for everything. Yes, and thank me you should. No one should have to tolerate someone like you for as long as I did. You have no idea how much stress you caused me. What are you doing about your things? You'd better not plan on hanging around my son's house any longer. I'll be moving in with him tomorrow, so get your ass out of there ASAP! I already left. I'm sorry for taking up so much of your precious space all this time. You're free to do what you like with the place from now on. Wow, that didn't take long. You got the message way faster than I expected. You know, for such an abject failure of a wife, you can be surprisingly sharp sometimes. I figured if I was gonna leave, I may as well get it over and done with sooner rather than later. I hope you lead a happy, fulfilling life. I don't need your best wishes. That goes without saying, with you finally getting out of my hair. I finally get to live with my precious son again. What more could a mother want? Think about it. I finally get to live a life free of the world's biggest pain in the ass, eyesore, and all-around disappointment there ever was. I'm the world's luckiest mom. I see. Well, I'm glad you're so pleased. Of course I am. I take great delight in how disappointed you must be that in spite of your best efforts, you didn't manage to get your grubby hands on a cent of my son's money. Despite that clearly being all you were interested in from the get-go. Sorry for hogging all the fun, honey. Whoopsie. Not at all. You said it yourself before, you can't help your feelings, right? It is what it is. If you don't want anything to do with me, who am I to say otherwise? I'm so pleased we finally reached an understanding. Nothing could make my life easier than not having you in it. You say that, but you're about to move back in with Eric again, aren't you? Even though you have a perfectly good house of your own? My house is old and rickety, needs repairs in several places, and is full of cockroaches. That doesn't sound perfectly good to me. It's over 70 years old by now. I'm finally taking the plunge and washing my hands of it. I have to put buckets down when it rains because of the holes in the roof, and the stairs are steeper than a medieval castle. I can't live out my retirement in that death trap. I'd be stupid not to move in with my son in his fancy new apartment. I see. So that's why. I've already made plans for the house to be demolished. I'll be living a life of extravagance and luxury in Eric's apartment again starting from tomorrow, while looking after him and trying to make up for the damage you inevitably did to him over these last 2 years. Sounds like you're getting exactly what you've always wanted, huh? I'm not the only one who's celebrating. Eric's over the moon too, you know. I mean, who wouldn't be? He'll finally get to stop eating the vile prison slop you call cooking every day. Vile prison slop? Are you talking about Eric's favorite dish again? I don't know how many times I have to tell you this before it finally goes in, but he's the one who makes that. Nonsense, my son's always been talented. The more I think about it, the more ridiculous it seems that he'd make anything as disgusting as that grotesque, sludgy concoction you call a meal. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's a grotesque, sludgy concoction. You pretty much live on Chinese takeouts, right? Probably not able to discern the subtle flavors of Eric's traditional stew because your taste buds aren't used to that kind of thing. Huh? What are you saying? Are you trying to suggest I have an unsophisticated palate? No, not in the slightest. You couldn't even let us say goodbye amicably, could you, you hateful witch? Whatever, what do I care? Why would I expect you to change your ways now all of a sudden? In any case, you have nothing to do with our family anymore. Never contact us again. Of course I won't. This is the last time you and I will ever speak. Don't think you'll be hearing from me either. Anyway, I have lots to do tomorrow, so I'm going to bed soon. I have to clean my son's apartment from top to bottom to get rid of all the dirt from your grubby hands. Now, if you'll excuse me, Toodles, I can't say it's been a pleasure. Yep, bye. I hope you get the retirement you deserve. Daisy, was that you I just passed in the street? Huh? Is this Karen? Did you want something? I'm sure you said you were never going to contact me again. What do you want? I'm messaging because I have something important to talk to you about, of course. I see. Well, go on. What is it? You were walking with my son just now, weren't you? I saw you not 30 seconds ago. I know it was you. Sure, it was us. What of it? Why in God's name are you with my son? I told you very clearly to stay away from us. Besides, you got a divorce. Sure we did, but he's still my ex-husband. It's not like the divorce was particularly acrimonious. And we have a long history together. Whatever, forget that. More importantly, The fact that you're out with my son must mean you're able to contact him, right? Sure. Why? Oh, thank God for that. In that case, I have a very important message for you to pass on to him. Tell him I'm waiting for him at home, so he needs to come back here as soon as possible. He hasn't been home in weeks. He won't answer my texts or calls. I can't get through to him at all. You have no idea how worried I am about that boy. He's a fully grown man, and I can assure you that there's no need to worry about him. Eric's in good health, great spirits, and living with me at my house. Excuse me? Living with you? At your house? Are you saying my son's staying with you? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. He lives with me now. What on earth? Explain yourself now! He married into my family. He has my surname now. Huh? Don't be ridiculous, you two got divorced! What is this, some kind of April Fool's joke? It's September, you idiot! Stop screwing around and tell me what's really going on! That is what's really going on. We got remarried. He married into my family this time. Things clearly weren't working out the other way around. What in God's name are you talking about, woman? So you're saying it's your fault my son hasn't been home in weeks? You promised to leave us alone. What the heck do you think you're playing at? The only one I promised to stay away from was you, Karen. I never said anything about staying away from my husband. Feel free to scroll through the old chat logs if you still have them. It's all there. Besides, it's not my fault he hasn't been home in weeks. It's yours. My fault? What are you talking about? How could it be my fault? Who in their right mind would want to live with a mother who launched a merciless bullying campaign against their own wife? I think it'd be stranger if he did want to live with you given the circumstances. How many times did he warn you? How many times did he tell you he wasn't prepared to tolerate you treating me that way forever? You were so hell-bent on making my life a living hell that you completely ignored him. As a result, he had no choice but to give up on you. Give up on me? Do you mean he doesn't intend to come back? That's right. If we lived with you, it would only be a matter of time before you started bullying me again. Eric chose me over you. Lies! Vicious lies! There's no way my precious boy would choose a vile harlot like you over his beloved mother! None of this makes sense. If you're telling me the truth, why did you two get divorced? Admit it, he gave up on you because he agrees with me on what a hopeless waste of space you are. We divorced because we knew that if we didn't make some kind of bold move, the chances of him ever escaping from you were slim. We decided a temporary divorce was the best way to extricate him from his difficult situation. The idea was to trick you into dropping your guard so that we'd have room to maneuver while you weren't paying attention. Temporary divorce? Wait, so you mean this was your plan all along? To leave me all on my own? Exactly. You mean you manipulated my naive, impressionable son into abandoning his aged mother? You're sick, twisted. You need to see a shrink. What kind of person is even capable of this? He's the one who chose to abandon you. I didn't make him do anything. He's not naive or impressionable, and he is perfectly capable of thinking for himself. His decision ultimately had nothing to do with me. But it's your fault! How can you claim otherwise? Stop screwing me around and give me back my son! I'm that boy's mother! Do you plan on leaving me all alone in this apartment? I'm old and frail. Who's to say how long I'll even be capable of looking after myself? No, he doesn't plan on leaving you in the apartment, actually. He's selling it next month. Here's a message from Eric. Hi, Mom. Please get out of my apartment as soon as possible. Thanks. What? He's kicking me out on the streets? I had my house demolished before I moved in with him. He can't do this. Tell him he can't. I have nowhere else to go. How could he do this to me? Has he lost his mind? He said he didn't even hesitate about making you homeless after how hateful and abusive you were towards me all that time. Besides, isn't that more or less what you did to me? You drove me out of the house due to your irrational, deep-seated hatred of me. He learned a lot about you from seeing the way you treated me. He's just taking a leaf out of your book. Oh my God. Wait. Does he hate me? I'm his mother, and I'm all on my own? Well, I'm his wife, and you would have gladly seen me left on my own if you'd had your way. What's the issue here? You picked on, mocked, taunted, and abused me in a twisted campaign of hatred and harassment, based on nothing but your warped assumptions about me before chasing me out for what you thought was forever. Surely you can see you're getting exactly what you deserve. What goes around comes around. Me and you are not the same. What happened back then was different. You're right, we're not the same. Because unlike you, Eric loves me. His feelings towards you couldn't be more different. Ugh! You thieving, low-life scumbag failure of a woman! Do not try and make a fool of me. It'll be the last thing you ever do. Your threats don't scare me, Karen. I see you haven't changed a bit. This is kind of nostalgic. It's been a while since I've received one of your famous torrents of abuse. But if I were you, I'd stop speaking to me like that. Because Eric's sitting next to me reading your messages right now. And let me tell you, he's furious. Eric? He's with you right now? Yep, we're reading your lovely, charming messages together. Eric, listen to me. Don't let that woman dissuade you or twist anything I'm about to say. Please come back, son. I'm begging you. I love you very, very much. You know that, right? Please don't leave me on my own any longer, sweetie. I can't take it. I'm so lonely without you. Let's live together again. Here's a message from Eric. I no longer think of you as my mom. You're dead to me. You'd be better off thinking of yourself as childless from now on. No! Eric, no! Stop putting words in my son's mouth. He'd never say something so horrible to his mother. Here's another message. You're not my mother, and you have nothing to do with this family anymore. Never contact either of us ever again. As for the apartment you're currently living rent-free in, I'll have no choice but to take legal measures unless you take your stuff and get out by the end of the week. And his final message, I suggest you make sure you're gone sooner rather than later. Oh my God! No way. He wouldn't seriously abandon me like this, would he? Legal measures? I feel like I don't even recognize my own son anymore. He seems pretty serious to me. I want you to know that I didn't make him say anything. He's his own man, and this is a decision he came to all by himself after realizing what kind of a person you actually are. Wait, just wait. Please, Daisy, will you convince him not to go through with this? If anyone can change his mind, it's you. What do you say, honey? Do it for your mother-in-law, for old time's sake. Please help out an old dear in trouble. I'm begging you. Could you live with yourself if you allowed your husband to go through with this act of inhumanity? Could you sleep at night? Could you? I don't think of you as my mother-in-law, and I definitely don't think of you as my mom. You're nothing but a stranger to us. If my husband wants you out of his life, who am I to stop him? Besides, old time's sake? Give me a break. You hate my guts. Why would you beg me, of all people, to help you? I wanted us to get along at first, but believe me, I feel exactly the same way about you as you feel about me now. I couldn't hate you anymore if I tried. I'd rather save a stray cat. After that, Eric sold his apartment as promised, and my ex-mother-in-law had no choice but to find someplace else to live. However, being entirely dependent on her pension and having very little savings to her name, she was unable to find herself a place to live, even for rent. She had no choice but to beg her relatives for help, and I heard she's currently sleeping on her cousin's sofa. I can only imagine how much that stings for someone so arrogant and prideful. That cousin also found out about how abusive she was towards me, and apparently she's pretty cold towards her, forcing her to do all kinds of chores around the house in return for sofa rights. Knowing her personality, it wouldn't surprise me if she got given her marching orders again before long. After everything that went down, Karen, whose vindictive, spiteful hatred knows no bounds, actually had the nerve to show up at our new house, banging on our front door like a woman possessed and begging for forgiveness at the top of her lungs. Astonishingly, seemingly cognizant of the fact that the chances of my husband forgiving her were slim, she clung to me like a distressed toddler and broke down in tears. It should go without saying that I didn't forgive her, but I'll make it clear anyway, just for the record. No chance! Not only will I not forgive her, but I won't help her either. Eric and I are in absolute agreement on that. Eventually, after being mercilessly yelled at by her furious son, she trudged away, eyes on the floor, shoulders drooping, broken and defeated. A mere shadow of her former self. After realizing she knew where we lived, we immediately sold the house and moved out of state, far enough away that she'd never be able to bother us again. This time, just to make sure she can't track us down again, we didn't tell anyone who knows her our new address. Her last memory of her son was him yelling furiously at her as she begged for forgiveness, a crumpled mess on the floor by our doorstep. When she realized we'd moved a second time to escape her once and for all, I received a string of not-so-charming messages, which I initially just ignored, but eventually, after running out of patience, I blocked her. With this, I'll never have to deal with my demonic ex-mother-in-law ever again. Eric severed all ties with his own mother out of love for me. And I'm going to make sure I let him know how grateful I am to have such a wonderful guy in my life every single day from here on out.